Hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle here. I want to talk about two things. I don't know if I can fit everything I'm going to talk about in the title of this video, but it'll definitely be in the description box. So two things I want to talk about. One, a quick review of the Slammies, and two, why it's a good thing that WWE are reverting back to one world title. So first, the Slammy review. The Slammy sucked. Every year I hate the Slammies. I don't know why WWE always put the Slammy show as always the go home show for their December pay-per-view, because I think it's a terrible thing, because the Slammies because they focus so much on the Slammies, a lot of feuds and a lot of rivalries kind of get sidetracked, sidelined, or they don't get as heavily focused or upon before the pay-per-view, 6 days later. So I've always hated that they will always put the Slammies as the go-home show for, their December pay-per-views, because everything plays secondary to the Slammies. Also, too, there were a couple of mess-ups in the Slammies, too, I must say. Like they said, welcome back to the 2013 Slammy Awards, but had the year 2012 logo on it. I don't know if anyone caught that. I thought that was hilarious. I also hated the fact of how they presented it. They presented it like it was like a real Oscar, like featuring World Heavyweight Champion John Cena, Randy Orton, The Shield, Shawn Michaels, and it's like, we see these guys every week. Like, what's the purpose of you like introducing them like they're some type of movie stars or something? It's little stuff like that just kind of pisses me off with WWE. Just how much they just so much rub their faces in Hollywood's butt, and they want to just be so much Hollywood. It makes me sick as a wrestling fan. Anyway, Slammy sucked. Best thing about it was Punk versus Ambrose. Awesome match. Yes, it was a rematch from SmackDown, but it's much better than that because they got more time on Raw. And I got to talk about the last ending segment. Towards the ending segment, I thought was pretty interesting. Not really Randy Orton and John Cena, but what happened in the mix of the confusion. So you had, as they were separating both John and Randy Orton apart, Orton pushes CM Punk's face. Punk kind of took it the wrong way, starts fighting Randy. Triple H takes Punk and throws him across the ring. Punk gets pissed off at Triple H, turns around Triple H and starts nailing Triple H in the face. Then Shawn Michaels super kicks Punk, and then Daniel Bryan does this running knee attack on Shawn Michaels. So you gotta make you wonder here that these are seeds being planted for WrestleMania. Punk versus Triple H, and then Daniel Bryan versus Shawn Michaels. Those are two key WrestleMania matches I definitely could see going down next year. Michaels versus Bryan, hell yes, I'm on that. And I know somebody's going to probably say, well, he can't do it because he made a promise to Undertaker 2 years ago that he'll never wrestle again, and the whole retirement match thing will be frivolous. It's professional wrestling. They can find some type of excuse or something stupid to make Shawn Michaels wrestle one more time against, his former student Daniel Bryan. I don't really care at this point. They can find something to write about to get Shawn Michaels out of that stipulation or something. So I'm all on that. Now, the one thing that pissed me off towards about the segment was that, my God, they just buried Randy Orton. As Randy Orton, during all this commotion, as Randy tried to RKO Bryan, Bryan pushed Randy, and he accidentally knocked out Stephanie McMahon. She always gets bumped. Then Triple H has to play hero and pedigree Randy Orton, and the segment just ends with the Authority and Cena with the Authority, which is strange, all looking at Orton like, what is the matter with you? What is wrong with you? We're so disappointed in you, Randall Keith Orton. And it's like, Randy Orton does underhanded things all the time. He's a heel. So what's he supposed to do? And second, him bumping into Stephanie was an accident. And this is the go home show. And I think for them to try to make this match a big deal, as they've been trying to do for the past few weeks, at least have Cena and Orton look like they're even as both world champions. Don't freaking bury him. And on top of that, I really don't get what's the the whole thing of them turning on Orton, the Authority, it makes no sense to me because, you know, it's like when SummerSlam happened, Triple H turned heel, and, you know, they were Randy as their guy. But then ever since, like, Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, they've, like, turned their back on Orton, which to me is like, there's no... something's gone on in the storyline. Now, I did hear that Vince McMahon, personally himself, did not like the storyline that was going on with the Authority and having Orton as their poster child. But that could have something to do with it in the sudden change, because I'm just like, I don't get why Orton and Stephanie are like turning their back on Orton. Like, they picked him to be in this position that he's in. Excuse me. Anyway, on to the next thing. I've made a video before earlier this year explaining in detail why is it important to have a one world title belt again, and a lot of people still just aren't clicking. So again, I'm going to explain why it's important for them to have a world title again. First of all, like Triple H says, and pretty much like everyone else knows, there's no depth in the roster anymore in WWE. So why have two world titles when one anyway plays second fiddle to the other one? It's nowhere near as put on the same level as the other world title, being the WWE. So that's frivolous there. Two, you guys heard me say a lot of times, and I'm going to say it like a broken record, another reason why it makes it better to have one world title is because you have more contenders fighting for the same belt, and it makes the main event seem more interesting because the champion, the title holder, has more people to play around with. You know, you go back to the Attitude Era back in the 90s when you had, say, Austin as the champion. Austin could face guys like The Rock, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, Mankind, Triple H. You know, and then when Triple H has the belt, then there'll be a whole different spectrum of different people that he faces as champion. So it mixes things up a bit in the main event scene, in the title picture aspect. I know there are some people that told me that they liked it better when, you know, both brands had, you know, both titles. Here's the thing, but like I said, again, the rosters aren't strong anymore. I mean, if they were to keep things the way they're going now, it'd be only a matter of time until we see Santino Marella be WWE or World Heavyweight Champion. And would you really want that? Hell no. So the star power is not there for both brands, really. You know, and before they even had the brand split, for 3 whole years straight, SmackDown shared the same belt with Raw when SmackDown first debuted in 1999. You know, for 3 years straight, Raw and SmackDown were sharing the same belts. And this is just my opinion. It makes things more interesting for me because it makes SmackDown worth watching if you have your main champion on the A show and some things that go on there spill over onto the Friday night show. It makes SmackDown more watchable, and I think it could help elevate SmackDown. Now, by them, to a degree. Now, by them reverting back to one main title belt, it does throw a monkey wrench and a lot of things going forward for WWE in terms of pay-per-views and whatnot. You got to look at the Elimination Chamber. Obviously, the champion will probably have to defend his title there, but we also have 2 Elimination Chamber matches. I think it would be stupid to have one Elimination Chamber pay-per-view with only one chamber match. Knowing WWE, they'll still do it anyway. Money in the Bank just throws a monkey wrench into that because you're only going to have one Money in the Bank winner now. You're not going to have 2. So they have to change that around. You can't just have the pay-per-view be Money in the Bank and you only have one ladder match. So kind of the same thing like with the Elimination Chamber. So they definitely have to change some certain concepts and stuff for the pay-per-views going forward if they're going to do this one main title thing. I think it's long overdue. I think it's important now to go back to having one main champion. It never makes sense to have 2 world champions anyway. I mean, at first it was okay because, like I said, back then when they did do it, both rosters were pretty beefy in star power. You don't have that now, so it makes more sense just to have one world champion. You guys give me your thoughts on WWE, having one championship again, reverting back to one title, and the Slammy Awards last night. What are your thoughts in the box below? Comment, subscribe. Peace.